You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marissa Lonick, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Join me each week as I dive into time management strategies, goal setting and achieving framework, and inspiring guests who are juggling mom life, work life, fill in the blank life. Dreams don't work unless you do, and just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still make it happen, whatever it means to you. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hello, mamas, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Mama Work It podcast. I am super excited to chat with friend and founder of Tiny Values today, Angelique Reisch. Angelique spent most of her professional life in the corporate world at Pixar Animation Studios. While she loved working at the studio and essentially had her dream job, after becoming a mom, she decided to ditch the late hours and inflexible schedule to start a business teaching children values, something I think we can all relate to as being an important, if not the most important part of parenting. Her online business, Tiny Values, is a subscription box that focuses on a different value each month. For example, kindness, gratitude, and courage. Now she has a growing business. She gets to pick up her kids from school, take them to gymnastics and soccer and karate, and she's the first grade room mom this year. Like, she is totally killing it. Angelique, thank you so much for being here and for showing us how it's done, Mama. I cannot wait for this conversation.
Oh, Marissa, thank you so much. Wow, that was a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it so much. Just love the work that you are doing and the work that you're doing for mom entrepreneurs. We need it. It is wonderful. It's a gift to this world, and I just am so thrilled that we have got connected and gotten to be friends. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. I love how we're starting off with all these warm and fuzzies. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first things first, please just tell us a little bit more about you and your story. We would just love to get to know you on this level for our listeners.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm the founder of Tiny Values. It has been an incredible journey getting here. So I'll tell you a little bit about my backstory and how it came to be. I spent 15 years at Pixar Animation Studios, working as a lighting technical director. I started there on the original Cars film as an intern and worked on pretty much everything since. So Ratatouille and Up and Coco, those are some of my favorites. I was a character lighting lead on Inside Out, which meant that like I had to say and kind of how the characters looked and how Joy's light kind of spread onto the set. And it was just an amazing time. I was working with, Pete Docter. It was just a dream come true. And my husband works there as well, John Reich. He's an effects supervisor. And what we found though is we had two kids, two wonderful, beautiful kids, Rose and Dylan. And about when Rose was about 3 and Dylan was about 1, things were starting to get really tough. We both had demanding careers. We were picking up the kids from daycare at 7 o'clock at night and, had an hour commute home and kind of living for the weekends. And I think we just knew like something had to change. This wasn't sustainable. And we weren't being the kind of parents we really wanted to be, is the truth. So after, with a lot of conversations and a lot of thought, I did the most courageous thing I could do. And most courageous, I see it as an act of love. And I quit my dream job. So I have always refused to believe that we as women have to choose between being a mother and having a successful career. So I knew that whatever I did next had to make space for my little ones. I had done it the old way. I had done the long days and I knew that didn't work. So I thought that an online business would really give me more flexibility. I wanted to be able to pick up my children. I wanted to be able to take them to play dates and be present at school when they had, fun things going on. So, my mom, I was really blessed. My mom did that for me. She was a stay-at-home mom. And I just really wanted to give that gift to my children as well. So I've always loved children's books, and I knew I wanted to make this new job about being a better mom. It was this chance to start over. And when I was working my full time job, I never had time to read the parenting books. And, I was just flying by the seat of my pants. But I knew I was like, oh, now I have a chance to create this new job. Why don't I make my job to be a better mom? And then what better thing to teach them than teaching them values like kindness, like courage, like resilience? And then what more fulfilling thing to do than teach it to other moms and help make it easy for other moms to teach values. So I dug in, I taught myself how to build a website, I found the right email automation tools, started to run Facebook ads, hired a graphic designer, found an amazing fulfillment center. I'm still new, I'm still learning every day. I'm still making mistakes every day, but my heart couldn't be more full. I have this growing business, I have the flexibility, and as you mentioned, like I literally had tears in my eyes when I signed up to become a room mom because I didn't think I was ever going to have that opportunity.
Angelique, I have had chills, everything that you've said, because I feel like I have been in those shoes, and I know many of our listeners have been in those shoes or are living in those shoes right now. And I want to first and foremost honor and congratulate you for making that hefty decision because it is not an easy choice for many of us. I feel the same. I loved what I did in the corporate world for a really long time. And I know you and I have had side conversations about this, and we're going to dive deeper into it today. Um, but yeah, once things start to feel misaligned in that space, everything starts to feel hard. Everything starts to feel hard. So it's never an easy decision. And it especially hasn't been for you. And it wasn't for me either. But I think you would probably agree you are in such a space now of really serving the world, serving your family, like honoring yourself and doing what you were really put here to do. So I just want to say congratulations because I know firsthand how scary, how nerve wracking that leap probably felt for you because again, I've been in those shoes. Um, and I guess my question, to kind of follow up on that, because I'm curious, is did you personally have a breaking point or a moment where you just knew it was time to make that leap? Like, did you wake up one day and you were like, today's the day?
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
curious how that went for you.
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you so much. Like it was a scary, scary place. Probably one of the scariest places I've ever been in my whole life. And, like everything in life, it feels so scary till you do it. And now and then you look back and hopefully it's, the choices were weighed and, you just prioritize. You just have to pick, your priorities in life. And so choosing our children will always be the right priority for us. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. And I totally understand what everyone out there is going through, without a doubt. And my heart goes out to you if you're struggling with that decision right now. In terms of a breaking point, I absolutely did. And I'm going to be really honest here with you guys. So my daughter was 4, I think at the time, and my son was 1. I think she turned, and I had just dropped them off. I was headed to work, that day. I dropped them off at daycare, and she was absolutely bawling. She was bawling. So this is while I was working full time. The fence at the daycare faced the parking lot. So it wasn't even like they go in the classroom and, you kind of go to your car. She was there at the fence saying, Mommy, sorry, Mommy, don't leave me. Don't leave me, Mommy. And I had to leave her. And I went back to my car and I cried and I slammed my hand down on the steering wheel. And I just felt like I had no choice. I felt so powerless. Um, I just felt like I was missing them growing up, and it was going to be the biggest regret of my life. And that no job is worth that. And no matter how much fulfillment that gives me, being with my kids is more and more important. And that was it. My husband already knew I was struggling with that decision. And I think, he's so sweet. After that day, it was like we both knew that the change was coming. So that was definitely my breaking point.
Thank you for opening up about that. It's so understandable and it's so relatable. I think as working moms, we have all struggled in places like that. And It sucks. I mean, let's just say it sucks. And you're right. As women, it shouldn't be a choice. It shouldn't have to be a choice, right? It should
Yeah.
be that we get to show up as the type of mom we want to be and the type of professional we want to be. And we should be able to kick ass in both of these worlds. And I'm so proud of the fact that so many women out there are able to do this and are doing this, and that it can be a possibility for you listening, for anybody watching, for whoever this is calling on your heart, like speaking to your heart right now. It can be a possibility. Angelique is a prime example. I'm a prime example. There are women out there making this work. You don't
Absolutely.
have to bury your ambition when you enter motherhood. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can make it all work. So preach, girlfriend. I'm so, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that really heartfelt story. And I know sometimes, and I'll share one thing, sometimes this is a quote I will carry with me for my whole life. A mentor said it to me before I was even a mom, and I follow it like it's deeply rooted in me. Sometimes breakdowns are breakthroughs.
I
And
love that.
sometimes you need those awful moments to happen for you to just be able to break through it and decide what it is you need to decide in that moment. And it sounds like that's what that was for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a wonderful way to say it. I'm going to remember that. Yeah, because without a doubt, that is what I needed. And if I look back on my life, other times that I've had those moments, if I don't listen to them, then I don't end up on the right path. Things don't feel right. So absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm curious, did you already have at this point when this happened and you just knew this was the only move you could make, did you already have the concept of teaching values to kids as your business model, or did this come later?
So I've been really into reading, especially with Rose when she was around 3. I was trying to find all these really empowering children's books. I love children's books. I love going to the bookstore. I love the way it smells. I love all the art. So I was finding all these empowering books to read, or, things like Dear Girl or The Wonderful Things You Will Be. And so I was creating these little projects to bring them to life. And I just, I was there and I was reading to her, and we found the book, Have You Filled a Bucket Today? And for people who aren't familiar with it, it basically teaches kids that everyone carries around an invisible bucket. And when you do kind deeds, you fill people's buckets. And when you do unkind deeds, you empty them. And I just feel like it just hit me like a ton of bricks sitting there in an Amazon bookstore. I just thought, like, this is what I want to be doing in my life. This is I just felt like I have these skills as a creative, and my background in story from Pixar and curating these books. It just felt really right. And I was so inspired. I practically ran home and made a little bucket for her and had her decorate it. And then I got these foam hearts, and she started earning hearts when she would do kind deeds. And the transformation was just incredible. Kindness became a word we used around the house very often. Instead of "you're making me angry" or "you're frustrating me," I would say "you're emptying my bucket." So even the language became, softer around, kindness or being unkind. And as a 3-year old, she became really aware of how her reactions affected other people. And consequently, she became much more kind. So it was pretty amazing. But even more broadly than that, I've always felt that values have to be taught and practiced. I don't think it's widely known enough that they are skills, like riding a bike, like reading a book, like, playing piano. We have to practice them with our kids. We put so much energy and time and resources into, and I do it too, soccer and ballet and all these wonderful things that are great to learn. But, devoting resources to teaching kids kindness and empathy for their fellow human, practicing courage and confidence and resilience with them, it's just so critically important. My son loves soccer. He's never going to be David Beckham. But the skills that Tiny Values has taught him, they can change the world, or at least his world and the people that are around him. So, yeah,
So
that's,
beautiful.
yeah,
So
thank you.
beautiful. Yeah. And so important too. You're right. I mean, these so called like sometimes I even feel like when people call things like this, quote, soft skills,
Hmm.
it's almost like demeaning a little bit. Like, no, how crucial are these skills? Like, not only for your success, but for your fulfillment in life, for you to feel like you are, living your best life ultimately. I mean, it's necessary. Don't we all just want to raise like good human beings in the end? I think that's really the common denominator goal every mom out there has. So, such an
Absolutely.
important thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the times we think, oh, well, they'll pick it up. They'll pick it up at school. They'll pick it up from their teachers. I teach that. And there's a difference between kind of letting them pick it up and you being the one driving the conversation about values and having them practice them actively and talking about them in your home actively. So yeah, big
Yeah.
difference there.
Yeah. So it sounds like you started teaching Rose and Dylan these values even before Tiny Values was born.
Yes.
And so you were that busy working mom, right, with those late hours and flexible schedules sometimes. How did you make that time to teach those values at home? And how can others do the same if they are in those shoes right now?
That's a great question. Yeah, when I was working full time, I missed them so much during the week. I barely saw them. So the weekends became really, really precious. I was that mom that Rose was 6 months old, and I was at my gym with her at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, and my husband's like, "What are you doing?" After a long week. But I wanted to get all that time in. With the projects, I just felt like it was wonderful multitasking. I was reading them books, but the books were teaching them values. And I was doing craft projects with them while they were practicing these important life skills. So it was just really this kind of multitasking kind of thing that, yeah, I just felt like I was hitting a lot of mom goals all at once to get that time in. And that was one of the big inspirations for the boxes. I really wanted to make it easy and fun for moms, for busy moms to teach values, just that it would have everything they need. You open it up, you can go at your own pace. And then additionally, I just think in our lives, we have to revolve them around our priorities as a family and not the other way around, if that makes sense. Like you've definitely said this many times, we have to get comfortable saying no. If having quality family time, teaching your children values is a priority, then it has to go on the calendar, just like a birthday or any other event. And if something else comes up, which it will, you just politely decline and say, I'm sorry, we already have plans that day. Between school activities and sports and friends, you have to manage your calendar or it will manage your life.
Yes.
And, certainly I'm not saying don't be there for your friends, but each month just decide as a family how you're going to spend some of that time on the weekend that you have together.
I love that. Yeah. So, what I heard you say is definitely make this a priority in your schedule, in your life. Get it on your calendar, right? It can even be monthly, as you mentioned, doesn't have to be like so frequent where it's not possible for your lifestyle. And sprinkle it in whatever you're doing, in the books you're choosing to read the kids, in, even in lessons while you're food shopping together or just conversations, right? I hear that you're able to sort of like implement this into your regular routines.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly what you can do. And just them hearing you talk about the values, or when you recognize them exhibiting a value, call it out. Use the word that the value actually means. A lot of people think, oh well, kids aren't going to understand resilience. You would be shocked if you start telling them, this is being resilient, bouncing back when you're hurt, bouncing back when you're disappointed. I remember, I'll keep it brief, but there's this great story. I was so during COVID, we almost never went to the store, but when we did go to Target, like twice during the lockdown, I would get the kids toys, because it was this huge deal. We were all going out, and then as things started to open back up, we would go to Target more often, and they wanted to get a toy, and I had to explain, okay, guys, we're going to cut back on that now. We're going to Target. We are not getting any toys. We're going to get the things we need and we're going to go home. So we're there in Target, and my daughter, I think she was 6 at the time, she walks down the LOL aisle, which is like her favorite thing ever. And she was like sad, and her shoulders were slumped. And she looked around and she said, "It's okay, Mom. I'm going to be resilient." And she came back to the cart with a smile on her face, and we continued along on our shopping trip. And my mama pride just soared. I just felt like this is working. Like she understood how she felt and she understood how to overcome it. And putting those pieces together at 6, I was blown away. So, absolutely, anytime you see your child, anytime you see characters on TV, even being courageous, or in books, Bluey was so empathetic when she went over to Bingo and comforted her. When she, call it out for what it is and use the term, and they will pick it up in their daily lives.
Oh, what a great story. I love that. I feel
Thanks.
like even grown-ups can't exercise that resilience in Target often. So
So true. So
that's
true.
really, really goals right there,
Yeah.
Angelique. Okay, so we personally, as a family, right, we subscribed to Tiny Values and we so enjoyed receiving these boxes monthly. Like, it was such a great activity to do together. And most importantly, it had such a great lesson and teaching point for my kids that I may not necessarily think to talk about or teach unless we were in a real life situation that warranted it, you know? So I love that they really spark those conversations, those teachable moments. Can you tell us just a little bit more about some of the particular values promoted and then just a sneak peek at kind of what's included in each box?
Yeah, I would love to, and I love that you guys enjoyed them. I That just means the world to me. Yeah. So it's meant to be a subscription curriculum. So it can be 3, 6, or 12 months. For the full 12 months, we start for all of them. We start everybody with kindness because that's at the root of all these other important values. So that you will always get the kindness box first, but then for the full 12 months, you'd go over to you get courage and then gratitude, love, confidence, imagination, self control, resilience, friendship, empathy, patience, and then independence. Because by the time they've learned all those values, we kind of end with independence because they're really ready to go, fly in the world. And then in terms of what comes in each box, so we have a beautiful children's book in each box that you'll be able to add to your library, and you can pull that out anytime you feel like I go back to the kindness book still, like, oh, we need a little boost of kindness in our house this week. I'm gonna read Have You Filled a Bucket today? And they'll obviously remember, and it'll just kind of help. It'll be a gentle reminder to them. And then it comes with 2 really fun hands-on projects. So the first project is designed for them to observe the value in their daily lives. So for kindness, they make these adorable little magnifying glasses, and then they go out and become kindness detectives in the world, looking for people being kind. And then they gift them a little gift when they catch them being kind. And then the second project is designed for them to practice the value, and this is the one I love the most because I feel like this is where it really sinks in for them. We already talked about the kindness project. They get a bucket, they get hearts for kind deeds throughout the month. There's so many other wonderful projects for courage. They make an adorable courage cape, is what we call it. And they get little awards like on their cape. They get to decorate it like a superhero. They kind of come up with this superhero persona, and they get little stars for their cape. Patience is a really fun one. They make little patience sticks, and then there's activities that they like to do on each of the sticks, like read a book or play outside. And anytime they're being really impatient, maybe they're waiting to go to a play date or to go to the park, you can just guide them and say, oh, go grab a patient stick. We've got about 15 minutes, and it kind of turns their impatience into a fun game. And then they run over like, oh, what am I going to get? Oh, I got, watch a YouTube, or whatever it is on there. And so that's really the goal, is like teaching tools, so the tool for patients would be finding something else to do to make the time pass. And so that's the goal of all the boxes, is to really give them a tool that they can use hopefully for the rest of their lives. And then it also comes with a 24-page workbook, which has turned into one of my favorite parts of the boxes because it's just this great. They're really beautiful, and they give children a chance to really think more critically about the value. And then for me as a mom, they give me a chance to ask my children questions I don't ever ask in daily life, like, when were you kind? When were you unkind? They give tips about what should you do if someone's unkind to you. And it's all done in this really fun way with like mazes and word scrambles and coloring pages. So I love the workbooks. And then on top of that, it comes with 5 table talk discussion cards. And these have been really interesting. They're little cards used to spark discussions around the dinner table. So you get 5 each month. So at the end of the 12 months, you end up with this wonderful little pack of cards. And you get to it's cute because they actually get to ask their parents some of these questions, like, when were you kind? Tell me a story of when you needed resilience. And the conversation that gets going about it, the kids just light up. I love it. And then they get a coloring book and they get a poster so they can track each of the values with their stickers when they complete the value, and a special surprise gift when they've completed the whole month. So it's really packed with stuff. I've tried to put so much value in.
There is a lot of value in there. That was one thing when I opened my first Tiny Values box. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff in here. There's a
Yay.
lot. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I love that
Oh,
because, you got to keep the kids busy.
yes, yes,
Got to keep their
totally.
hands and their, like otherwise,
Yeah.
right, they get bored really quick. So I love that there's so many different activities. They mold really well to different ages and different things. And I'm just going to say, like, for someone who says she didn't have time to read the parenting books, like this is pretty legit parenting.
Thank you. I have time now, thankfully. I have time now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you for sharing what's in there because I think it's so important for people to hear all of the amazing goodies that they can find if they do decide to subscribe to this box. And I love that you can do it in segments of 3, 6, or 12 months, right? So whatever feels right to you. And now we are going to jump on over, Angelique, to our lightning round.
Oh, great. Okay. These are fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're
Okay,
just going to ask you some random, just for fun questions, just so our listeners can get to know you. Are you
cool.
ready?
Yes. Let's go.
Okay. Here we go. What is your go to get it done song?
Oh man. Okay. I love this. Okay. So I actually have 20 to 30 of those. They're all in a playlist called Do Amazing Things. And I suggest
Yes.
everybody make this immediately. And they are just songs that I have been listening to since I first was, filing my LLC, and it just puts me back in that headspace. So if I'm up, they get me really up. If I'm down, they get me back up, Probably my favorite one. I love High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. It's,
Yes.
the lyrics are just like, I had to have I'm not going to sing high hopes for a living. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision. I was going to be that one in a million, had to have high hopes. So listening to positive songs like that, just, oh man, on a day that I'm just feeling like this is never going to work, it's so inspiring. So great question.
Yeah. That is a great song. And I love that. Maybe you can share that playlist with me.
Oh, I would love to. Yes,
I would
absolutely.
love it.
You bet. You bet.
All right. What book are you reading right now? Not children's book for you.
Totally. Okay, I was gonna say, yeah. I just finished Dave Kirpin's Likeable Social Media. Fantastic book. Really talks about how to use social media for good, how to connect with your customers, for good, and just in kind ways. So highly recommend it. It was a great book.
Oh, that sounds really great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Super important question here. Nail salon, hair salon, or spa. You can only pick one to visit for the rest of your life. Which
Oh
one
my
is
gosh.
it?
It would have to be hair salon. I cannot deal with these grays for the rest of my life alone. The
Girlfriends,
nails I
don't I
can,
know
I
it?
can Nope,
Don't I know
definitely hair
it?
salon.
Yes. All right. What if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life? What would it be? Calories don't count.
Calories don't count. Okay. Probably my grandma's mashed potatoes. They're like the best in the world. So yeah. Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
go without those.
Awesome. Okay. What if you could have any superpower? What would it be?
Oh man, I first it would be to create more time. I never feel like I have enough time. And if I could just go, oh, I need like 15 more minutes, that would be amazing. But the other one that I think I would also want is snapping my fingers and then the house is clean. Like that would be a game changer for me.
Okay. So, A, that's the one I would want,
Yeah.
the clean house. And B, we just have to hang out more. I will get you more time,
Yes.
girl.
Okay, perfect. Yes. Amen.
All right. And what's something most people don't know about you?
this is really funny. I am actually a rock drummer. You would not.
What?
I know. I don't even think you knew that. This kit behind me is actually mine. My husband plays guitar, and he was playing in a band at work. It was a Pixar band called Clown Car. There's still some crazy YouTube videos out there somewhere, but I started drumming, and I got good at it, and I loved it. It was such a wonderful release, and I felt like what's funny is when I'm drumming, I feel like you're thinking about so many things because all of your limbs are moving. I can't be worried about the past. I'm not stressing about the future. You have to be so centered and mindful of what you're doing that like all of my anxiety goes away, all of my concerns, so it just became this really wonderful thing. And then I can actually like channel my inner Dave Grohl pretty well. Like I I can
Yeah.
I hit pretty hard. So yeah, that's kind of a fun. People are like, "What?" Yeah, it's a fun hobby. I look forward to getting back to it more. It's been a while, but
Oh,
fun.
this is amazing. This is amazing. I can't believe I did not know this. And I'm excited to like go on YouTube and find this
Oh
video.
my gosh. Awesome.
All right. Well, on that note, we are going to wrap up today's episode. Can you please tell our listeners where they can find you, Tiny Values, if they want to check them out? And we will close on that note.
Yes, absolutely. So tinyvalues.com will have everything that you need. We have a special code for your listeners. Do you want me to talk about that? Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Yes.
So they can just use Mama Work It, just all one word, Mama Work It. If you'd like to sign up, that will get you with a 6 or 12-month subscription. You'll get 50% off your first box. So that makes the first box like $20, and change.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just if you'd like to try it, if it's not for you, no problem. But yeah, I think the code's a fun way to kind of give it a try, see if it's for your family. And yeah, tinyvalues.com. I've got all the links on there for Instagram, for their Facebook. Just go check it out. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to email me, Angelique at tinyvalues.com. I'm happy to help you and answer any questions. And I just really thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. This is just fantastic. I love chatting with you anyway. So to get to do it and share what we're talking about is a really, really special thing. Thank you.
And thank you for being here. And you guys, what a fabulous holiday gift. If you still have kids on your list who you're not sure what to buy, the gift that keeps on giving. You guys, every month you'll get this awesome subscription box. You'll feel like you're checking the box on the mom goals as winning. Your kids are learning and doing fun activities. And I think it's just a win-win-win. So definitely check it out if this is something that could be a great holiday gift, birthday gift, or just general thing that you want to include in your day-to-day mom life. Thank you so much, Angelique, for being here.
Oh, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and would love if you could take a quick minute to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening from, and maybe even send a note to a fellow mama friend recommending it. Reviews and recs help this podcast grow and reach more like-minded, awesome moms. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button so we can stay in touch, girl. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Mama Work It website, please do. There are lots of free resources and great articles there that can help you with the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. So head on over. Thanks again for being part of the tribe. I'll see you soon, but in the meantime, keep on working it, mama.